and welcome anybody and everybody that might have really taken the time to jump on right at 12:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Stephanie Brown, coming from Intelligent Construction Opportunities. I've got a new buddy of mine, Tommy Stanek, co-founder of Graceful Management Systems. And we're going to have a good outing today, explaining all the stuff around beta testing. Yes, Tommy's looking for some beta testers. We'll get into that. But we really want our audience to share and ask questions and find out what's involved in being a beta tester for anything, let alone Graceful Management Systems. Again, Stephanie Brown from Intelligent Construction Opportunities. We help both construction professionals source and find and select their construction technology, but we also help technology vendors presenting live streams like this so they can give a good kick at the can for their network that knows them and to grow their network so that they are aware of the quality services that their platforms and applications are bringing to construction professionals today. So welcome, Tommy.
Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Do you want to let people know a little bit about your background? How did you come into tech and how are you connected to construction?
Oh, well, those are good questions. It kind of stumbled my way there in all reality. Started as a business owner for a mortgage franchise. And as a business owner, we're constantly looking to optimize operations. Nobody wants to work for their business when you're a business owner. You want the business to work for you. So looking for ways to automate, streamline, proceduralize, and just have a clear expectation of what needs to be done and an accountability in place to make sure that it is in fact getting done. Taking that experience from the mortgage industry to the construction industry is universal. The process changes a little bit with regards to the product, but the fact that the process continues to exist allows us to apply what we've learned then to what it is that we're doing now. And how we fell into technology, we've been capitalizing on it all the time, looking for solutions to navigate some of the biggest problems of the construction industry. Helped us identify that the construction industry is missing some of those solutions. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of awesome products out there that have really helped this industry grow, but there's some lapses in what's available that's really resulting in industry having the second most complaints in the United States. And we aim to change that from the inside out, helping the contractors, their employees, and ultimately the communities that they serve.
Very good. I want to welcome Maria Martin. She's hopped on. I don't know, comments, well, with LinkedIn sometimes go missing. So I sort of have an eye on what's happening in another distribution channel here. But I see Maria Martin has jumped on. She's saying greetings from Alabama. I want to recognize her and thank you for joining us at this point in time. So,
hi, Maria.
Getting onto the track of what you're talking about, we want to kind of understand. Well, I want to understand. I think the audience would like to know. So GMS stands for Graceful Management Systems. What's behind you calling an application Graceful Management Systems?
Well, that's a great question. You know, I've been told more times than I have fingers on my hands that construction is like organized chaos. And I can understand why people perceive it that way. But chaos in and of itself has an underlining experience or sentiment that it's uncomfortable. There's a lot of things that are taking place that in some cases are unmanageable. And if we are managing them, it's more reactive than proactive. We wanted to take, and what's funny about this organized chaos, the concept of it being organized is we're managing it. We just wanted to change that experience that people are having with chaos and turn it into graceful. So, you know, our tagline is actually, because the GMS guides you on what to do, similar to a GPS, you know, our tagline is turn right from construction chaos to a graceful experience. So we're going to navigate those same challenges, but we're going to navigate them differently. We're going to use technology that's going to help us understand the most effective way to move forward. We're going to be proactive so that way we can have a graceful experience versus organized chaos.
All right, so let's kick this wide open then, okay? So what we know, everything in any sort of application revolves around some sort of data intake and data output. So what types of data, because I want to sort of hone in, let's back it up a little bit. We're looking for beta testers, and we want to have beta testers in the roofing industry to start with. Is this fair?
That's excellent.
All right. So let's get real about the types of data that we're looking to absorb in your system, and what kind of just high level outcomes would happen as a result of it. And we want to know from the audience if there are any roofers on, or even people that are working within commercial or residential construction where there's obviously the roofing component. What type of data do you currently track for your roofing projects, and how do you typically use that data for your decision making? So I want to sort of pop that out there for the audience to sort of think about roofing data, or any other data for that matter. How are you actually consuming it, and how are you using it? So back to Graceful Management Systems, what's the primary function of your enterprise resource planning system, Graceful Management Systems? And how can it benefit a roofing company?
Well, it's a great question. And I almost want to say kind of ironic, because what kind of data are we capitalizing? And this is the catalyst of what has gotten us to where we're at today. I had no intention of building a software company. I was always looking for already existing technologies. Now, what's interesting with an ERP, you had asked, what kind of data are we consuming? When you subscribe to an ERP or an enterprise resource planning system, the concept is that it has several different components to it, from the sales piece to the estimating piece to the scheduling piece to the accounting piece. You may have some HR piece in there as well. You have it all in one place, you set it up, and then all of a sudden everybody's kind of plugged into one system, and it's tracking the information necessary for the business to be able to print reports and understand what's going on. And there are a lot of awesome construction ERPs, which I've been blessed to capitalize on, utilize within operations. But what I found interesting is that when you're setting it up, let's just kind of stick to the estimating side, for example. Mm-hmm. You kind of line itemize everything. I want, it costs me this much in material and labor to produce this much in labor and material to produce this much in labor and material. You're going to go ahead and put your margins alongside that. And then your estimators, they go ahead and they put in quantities. It builds out the estimate for them, and they're able to deliver that to the customer either manually or digitally, get a signature, and the project goes. Once the project goes, you have people that are now clocking in and out. You have invoices that are coming in from the material distributors, from the subcontractors, from the vendors, and you get this beautiful report that tells you, here's what you estimated it at, here's what you're at, here's the variance. We're over on this, we're under on this, you have this much more to go with this. And what I found shocking is the ERPs out there have the data with regards to what we thought it was going to take and what it actually takes, but they're not reconciling it. And that's where we decided we were going to go ahead and build a system that actually takes your actual data, what it is that's taking place out in the field in real time. If we're snapping a picture of a receipt or an invoice, or clocking out early or leaving late, we're using that information in real time to autonomously update and optimize our estimating data. So if we thought it cost this much for materials, but in fact costs this much for materials, we're using that information so that the sales team is now estimating with the most current information that everybody's already capturing in their current existing activities. So we're not expecting people to start uploading or doing new or additional work than what they're already doing. We're just building a bridge between the actuals and bringing it right back to the estimating team in real time, both from a cost perspective as well as a scheduling perspective.
All right, so let's get into a little bit of how the sausage is made. I know, Tommy, you've been at this for a while, working really hard behind the scenes and trying to get this right. I mean, my understanding is that one data point levers off another data point, levers off another data point. So obviously there is an element of our good old friend AI, which is now ubiquitous as far as I'm concerned to everybody's life in some way, shape, or form. So how is the AI? Give us a sort of a little bit of a workflow of how your ERP system utilizes artificial intelligence, and in this case, to potentially reduce labor and materials for, we'll say, the roofing projects or the roofing community.
Got it. I'm just going to write a note because that was a big question. So I'm going to start with, we don't delete anything. In current ERPs, if you're adjusting a price for a product or for labor within your estimating template that the ERP then provides the sales team to be able to actually build out their estimates, you're effectively erasing the information that you had historically and you're replacing it with a new data point.
So Maria's asking, is that done with API calls?
So I'm not our CTO, but there are APIs that allow us to pull information from the providers that actually have those available. Not all providers have that available. Once again, it's capturing it actually from within your office's already existing activities. So how is it capturing an updated price? If you had a set price for a bundle of shingles, for example, and then all of a sudden you're uploading the invoice into your ERP to track it from an accounting perspective, and that price for that bundle of shingles is in fact different than what you set your template to, it goes ahead and it creates a new price point that it can use to not only tell you what the current price is, but with the historical pricing information that's in there, forecast what the price will be based on the data of the project that is actively being estimated. So hopefully that answers your question. With regards to,
I think it's a start. I mean, I think it's a start. I guess I should interject that this is the first of 3 live streams that we're going to be talking about this. So as we build on each live stream over the next couple of, what is it? I've lost. It's Tuesday so next Tuesday and the Tuesday following. So we want to really sort of tear apart what this particular system is trying to do with the data. So thank you. I think that was a pretty good first kick at the can for an explanation. So how could data inputs in the system apply that data from the past projects to improve the cost prediction and the scheduling?
Well, like you started the beginning of this live stream with, the more information we have, the better our ability to use that information to be able to forecast where we're going to be. So as we continuously capture price points, and not just, that's another interesting thing, is that a lot of times in the construction industry, we kind of evaluate the last 12 months and we create a baseline that this is what our, what it is that we're going to be spending, or our costs, or our sales, or our labor. It actually varies specific to season, depending on the region that you're in. You're going to have higher performance in temperatures that are more comfortable for the human body than when it's extremely hot or when it's extremely cold. And the GMS is extracting that information specific to region, specific to season, even specific to the employee or the subcontractor that you're utilizing, because nothing is the same across the board.
Okay, so take your average roofing project and give us an idea of where GMS would start to enter. You can use estimating, you could use scheduling. Give sort of a verbal idea of what that workflow. Let's even just say from the project planning perspective.
All right, so we do have some pre-built templates already for the roofing industry. The GMS does do other verticals outside of roofing, but we are focusing, our beta launch specific to the roofing industry. And you're going to be setting it up similar to any existing software that you're already utilizing, whether it's a CRM, whether it's an estimating platform, whether it's a scheduling platform. You need to put in that same baseline information with regards to how it is that you're pricing something, not only the materials and the labors, the margins, and then from that, you're able to derive a cost. But associated with that is also a schedule. So some ERPs allow you to create a templated schedule where, whenever you're doing a roofing project that's like this, this is the general template that we're going to follow. Or if there's some variances, this is the template that you're going to follow. So you'll go ahead and you'll set all that stuff up. Where the differentiator comes in with regards to capturing data is as that project gets sold and becomes active, now you have all that Gantt chart information being delegated to all the resources that the project is dependent on producing it. And as they're clocking in and out, or as foremen update information with regards to vendors, what it is that you had scheduled starts to adjust. It may take longer, it may be shorter. And now we have two data points at the completion of the project. We have what was estimated and we have the actuals. And the next time you build an estimate for a project that matches that criteria, we call it like in kind criteria, the GMS is able to mine your database for projects that match that criteria specific to region, season, and I already said region and season, and it's specific to that particular contractor. It's able to use those two data points and say, hey, we see how you wanted to produce it. Here's what it actually took. And the GMS is now going to make a recommendation. This is how you should price it based on the information that it has. This is how you should schedule it based on the information that it has. And you're able to now say, I like that, let's go with it. Or no, I want to make these adjustments. And you go ahead and you make the adjustments to price, whatever it is, whether it's material, labor, margin, you make the adjustment to that schedule. And again, now you've captured a new data point. The contract is executed, the work is being completed. As everybody clocks in and out, the invoices come in. We now have a completed project data set. And now we've effectively have 4 project data sets specific to this particular type of installation that the GMS is able to continuously learn and derive from, even learning the personality of whoever the subscriber, the owner of the construction company, or whoever he or she has appointed to update that information. And it's starting to learn, well, more than likely when we make this type of a recommendation, they're going to say this or they're going to say this. And over time, it gets confident where it'll stop asking questions unless you adjust that threshold, and it will start making those decisions on your behalf based on how it learns your responses, improving the way that you're scheduling, estimating, ultimately to really be more accurate than is humanly possible. And we can talk more about that if that comes up.
Well, I sort of want to turn to our question. So we're talking about the beta experience. We're talking about roofers. We're talking about inputting their data. I sort of want to get into the idea of what does this beta test look like? What kind of, if you were working with a beta tester today, and we will be, how are you going to onboard them? What's their beta experience going to look like?
Okay. So beta for us may be a little bit different. We're kind of really looking to form a partnership with companies that know this is where the industry is going. And we need your help to allow us to learn from how your operations work, the processes, the procedures, the costs, everything that's going on. So we can use that information to make sure that the GMS is in fact satisfying your expectations, ideally exceeding the expectations that you have for some of your existing staff, whether it's a scheduler or an estimator. And through this partnership, we're going to validate that the machine learning is in fact taking place. And that's essentially going to allow us to get out onto the market. Now with beta testing, you're going to be jumping into a program that isn't going to be providing you the types of forecasts that we're describing right now, because just like when you hire somebody, there's a learning period. Mm-hmm. So we need to take the time to learn. We need to partner with people who have the patience to teach us so that essentially when we get up and running, you're no longer having to pay for that salary of that individual. You're only paying a fraction of a cost, and even better, they always show up. And they're also able to consider a heck of a lot more data points instantaneously and run a lot more scenarios through to make decisions than a human being is possible. But the beta testing period isn't where you're going to be signing on and we're going to be waving a magical wand and all of a sudden you're going to be walking on water. It's actually possibly in the opposite direction. Things are going to slow down. Your feet may sink into the water a little bit, but through those experiences is how the AI is going to learn and how you're going to be able to take your dependence off of people and really bring in some consistent accuracy. I'm going to just share one example. I was at a conference. Yep. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it. Absolutely.
This may sound scary. I was at a conference and I heard the speaker say that he had somebody make a $500,000 mistake. And he asked everybody, what do you guys think I did? And the whole audience shouted back, fired him. And the speaker responded, heck no, I didn't fire him. I just paid $500,000 for his education. He'll never make that mistake again. And so while the GMS will not be making $500,000 mistakes, that's the kind of experience we're going to be going through as we're utilizing the technology. And fortunately or unfortunately for the beta tester, it's once we've got, we are walking on water, that we're going to do our official market launch. But in exchange for your patience and working with us, you will not only get to use the GMS for free, you'll have a development team that's essentially going to be building out technology service that matches your business's needs. And finally, you're going to get locked in at a price that A, will be discounted, and B, will hold indefinitely as long as you retain ownership of that business.
Now, I want to back up a little bit, because what you're doing is part of the beta test is to ingest unique information to that particular contracting entity, in this case, roofing contractors. So I think it's really important to sort of, address this, what I would call the elephant in the room, the security around protecting the beta testers' data. And I mean, the whole idea is to ingest their unique data. What infrastructure does GMS have that assures the unique privacy of that data?
All right, great question. I'm going to try and tackle it two ways. For one, our development team specializes in healthcare industry products. So we're very, the type of security procedures that we have experience with exceed that than what's expected on the construction realm. But I want to break us out of the mold of privacy. So yes, you got your privacy, but I'm going to tell you, we have a button and it's called the turbo button. And if you push this button, you are effectively sharing your information with your competition in exchange for your competition sharing that same information back with you. Now it's scrubbed, so we don't know who it is. And it's also, your competitor's data isn't always relevant to you. So we're also only sharing the information that could actually help optimize your business. And I can dive into this a little bit deeper should people want to go into it. But what we're really talking about—
back you up a little, stop you a little bit here. Please tell the audience what scrub means, because a lot of time we talk technology terms, and we're interfacing with construction professionals who specialize at something else. Tell them what scrub means, because to me that's where the assurity starts with this question.
We're going to remove anything that identifies or leads that information back to the source itself. I will dive deep in one example. So construction contractors share resources, whether it be subcontractors, material distributors, vendors for trash removal, or porta potties, for example. And everybody's negotiated different pricing with these vendors, so to speak. So if we know that a material is increasing in price by, let's just say, $5 per unit for one contractor, it doesn't mean that their competitors' price is changing also by $5 per unit, because of the pricing they've negotiated is different. But what we can do is we can remove who that individual is. We can even remove what the price is, and we can identify that material has gone up by, let's just say, 3%. And we can use that information to help the competition anticipate that and include that on their estimates that are taking place within a similar time frame, region, and if they're using that exact same distributor. So that information isn't actually relevant to where we're getting it from, but we're translating it, removing all the information that's unnecessary and grabbing what is relevant and sharing that. Now that's an option. It isn't something that you have to participate in. But what we're really trying to do is satisfy the biggest complaints of the community. And if you research the top 4 complaints in the construction industry, which has the second most complaints in the United States consistently, is surprise cost, scheduling delays, poor communication, and the 4th one is quality of workmanship. We are trying to help as a community prevent consumers from having these surprises. And those surprises, they land on our laps one of 2 ways. Either you have to present it as a change order to your consumer, or you have to take it on the chin out of your profit margin. And by having this information available to us faster and in real time, and be able to forecast where it will be should the project be taking place 3 months, 6 months, 12 months from now, will prevent some of those surprise costs, both from landing in either the consumer's lap or the owner's lap, and we should be able to land accurately at the place that we've estimated it to be.
Very good. So what level of technical expertise is required for a roofing team to take on, even considering, getting involved in this beta test? What are you exactly looking for in the way of a roofing contractor to quote unquote pilot this or test it or contribute to it and actually see how the whole point of this, and actually this, I'll back up a little bit, even Intelligent Construction Opportunities' point of having these conversations is to give construction professionals all the choices that they can have around the technology, to not only use the technology, but to help to shape that technology for the future. And if I dare say so myself, Graceful Management Systems is exactly giving construction contractors and specialty contractors the ability to decide, okay, AI is not going away. I mean, I don't know about whoever's listening and Tommy and whatever, but I mean, I read Reddit posts all the time, and all I see is works, doesn't work. It's all contextualized to how that particular contractor runs their projects, and therefore the data and the details that in this case would help to shape what I guess becomes a personalized database of resource, so that you put it in, but you're also building on it. And so if you plan to grow your company over the next while, you are then positioned to do it, because without being a cliche, I mean, yes, knowledge is power, but the actual application of that knowledge is the true power. And this is an opportunity to do that.
You're correct. And you've said, you've hit on a lot of great points. Stephanie, you and I, we can talk until we're both blue in the face, and we'll probably still have oxygen to keep going. Yeah. So let's start with, what kind of skill set do you need to beta test? At least for the GMS, and I'm taking this, I'm pretty sure it's from Warren Buffett, is we're less looking at skills and we're more looking at attitude. If you know that this is where the industry is going and you want to be a part of it, that's more important to us than the skill set. It's our responsibility through working with you to understand, hey, this is too complicated. The way that we have it set up, we need to simplify it, because it's your responsibility to your business, and it's our responsibility to your business. It's not your responsibility to have to all of a sudden train everybody on technology so that you can run your business. We want to come in like a glove where you just slide your hand in and we can essentially protect it and make it easier to do your work. So attitude is what we're primarily looking for. We already have a decent list of beta testers, but we're consistently combing them for really their enthusiasm to understand that, hey, this is an opportunity where for once I can stop working for my business and I can get my business to start working for me. And that's where I'm going to segue into the second comment you made with regards to AI not going away. Again, I'm going to steal this, and I should get better at who I'm quoting everything from. But there's a couple of individuals that, AI is going to usher in the 4th industrial revolution. Now, everybody's still trying to get their footing on understanding how to capitalize on it. And this one I do know was Mark Cuban, who said that, the world's first trillionaire isn't going to be Bezos, and it's not going to be Zuckerberg. It's going to be the organizations that are able to capitalize on AI and bring a new technology to the market that we're, haven't been able to capitalize on before. So this isn't going away. The construction industry, the New York Times just published an article in February that it's one of the only industries that is in fact costing us more and producing less than it was, I'm pretty sure, several decades ago, if not a century before. And it's because we're navigating so much information. You know, I am actually heartbroken on behalf of the contractor, having been an executive in the industry, that contractors work so hard. They do their best. And yes, there's some outliers out there that are deceptive, and you know, we all hate competing with those guys. But for the lion's share, these are hardworking people that are super proud. And, you know, if you want to get into a battle with anybody, these are the guys you want alongside you. And what's interesting is because of the experience that the consumer is having, is the contractor is getting a black eye and a bad reputation, when in reality, the consumer has no concept of the challenges that the contractors are navigating. And they have not had, and they haven't had a tool to help them navigate it. If permission to keep speaking, I want to use one example here, Steph.
Yes.
So if we think about the telephone number, everybody's got 10 digits in their telephone number. That includes the area code. That means that everyone in the United States who has a phone has those same digits, just in a different order. If a construction project only had 10 steps, everyone in the United States who has a phone, or a phone number, could actually do that construction project in a different order. Only one of those ways is the fastest. Now, there are very few, if any, construction projects that only have 10 steps, for starters. Secondly, if you were to even try and run each scenario through from start to finish to compare which one costs the least and takes the least amount of time, for starters, that's 10 billion different options. Before you even finish running your first or second scenario through from start to finish, something has changed. A price has changed. Somebody didn't show up. A material was incorrect. And the impact to one project then overflows onto the projects that are not only being produced simultaneously, but that are scheduling next. This ripple effect is astronomical, and contractors are left putting out one fire while in the process starting another one, and then putting out that fire while in the process starting another one. And it's very reactive, and it is not their fault. And the consumer doesn't understand that. And we would like to get contractors the tools they need so that they can get, you know, the respect and the appreciation for the sacrifices, the efforts, and even the risks that they take, because construction work is dangerous.
Well, it's not just dangerous, but I'm going to make a broad brush call out here. I mean, one of the reasons that I started Intelligent Construction Opportunities is because of the disconnect between the technology side and the construction professionals. Great technology, bad technology, whatever. At the end of the day, that structure or that, you know, renovation or restoration is going to happen. It'll, you know, by come hell or high water, no matter how much money is lost on the project, no matter how many people don't show up to do their job when the schedule says so, it's going to keep going. But where the opportunity is for construction professionals, they have had their fingers burnt by technology that, let's just say, has been developed by non-construction professionals, and not enough of them having worked in the field, not enough of them really experiencing, as my good friend Heath Willis says to me, Stephanie, you've never been on your hands and knees trying to install pipe with bloody knuckles. Absolutely correct. And that's unfortunately true for a lot of software developers. But this is now the opportunity, particularly with the advent and the use of this so-called artificial intelligence, which is absorbing all of what we're doing now and doubling down on it so a machine can take over. You're not going to be without the actual skill of this. The machine, we're never going to get, at least in the next, in my opinion, in the next 20 years, where every machine's going to be able to turn every type of project with every type of problem into a machine-made building or structure. So this is the construction industry's opportunity now to go, pardon me for saying, F this. We are going to tell you the inputs that we need to make this happen And in this case, for Graceful Management Systems, for our type of projects. This is your opportunity not to have the people that make technology assume how your projects go, what matters to you as a contractor or a specialty contractor, and make it work for you. And so that's, again, getting back to why we are looking, we decided we wanted to go narrow, and that's why, why not start at the top? Roofing sounds like a plan to me. And we'll work our way down. But the point is, this is your opportunity to get involved. And it doesn't have to be a heavy lift. We all know we're in the peak of construction, for most, states, and I'll say provinces right now in North America. But it doesn't mean that, you can't just jump on with a call and see what Graceful Management Systems is all about and decide for yourself. Is this something that you'd want to beta test now? Would you want to beta test it 6 months from now? All of it works because we know that we can't make these systems work for you without you. So obviously we, have to play ball with when you can afford to take on these types of beta testing projects. So that's my little rant.
I'm going to piggyback off that. And I've always, having a lot of experience in sales, I've learned that the best sales are that create long-term relationships and returns are the ones where you don't pitch the product because you like it. You share the facts and let people determine if it's the right fit for what their needs are. So I'm reluctant to say, I encourage everybody on this call, whether you're considering GMS or not, this is coming. And I promise you that if you don't start figuring out how you're going to bring it into your business now, the consumers are in fact going to start going away from you because they're going to start working with the platforms that are more consumer friendly, where somebody can pick up a telephone and get the information that they need from the mobile app, where people can get estimates right online. This stuff is coming. And the sooner you get in, the sooner that information can start working for you. And the sooner you're essentially securing the longevity of not only your business, but really your exit from your business, because the whole concept of having a business is that it provides for you. And in the construction realm, a lot of us are depending on this to also be our retirement. And you don't want things to start slowing down as you get older. You want the exact opposite result. And believe it or not, technology can also increase not only those margins, but the amount of consumers you'll have access to.
And that's, again, why I refer to all of this as digital tools. I mean, it's a tool. It's a tool. I mean, and any more than, you name, the latest, I'll say, a cordless drill. I mean, there was a time when there were no cordless drills. I mean, that needed an evolution. And there's no project that's going to do anything without cordless drills, just as one example. But it needed to be iterated on. It needed to have the input of the users. It needed to have the environment that it could function in as a cordless element on the job or your average job. So again, we're coming out and saying, help us, help you is what it really comes down to. I want to give another shout out to Maria. She said she just paid $500K for his education, Best Boss. Because I'm a little late in picking up on this, maybe you can share what you're referencing here, Maria.
It was a statement that I made about that conference where the gentleman had made the $500,000 mistake. The estimator did, and everybody's, he said, "What do you think I did?" And everybody shouts back, "Fired him." And he responded, "Heck no. I just paid $500,000 for this guy's education. He's never going to make that mistake for my organization again." And not only that, he also sets an example where others will be able to learn and glean from those types of mistakes. And you're right. He is one of the best bosses ever. He owns one of the best roofing companies I've seen or heard of. And he's also capitalizing on technology, even developed some of his own.
Well, and again, I mean, if we can all be honest with ourselves, we were all meant to make mistakes. That's where the best learning comes from. But again, it's like this is to me, I sort of visualize the Graceful Management System as sort of it ingests all of the data, good, bad, and ugly, and makes sense of it for you as an individual contractor. And, I mean, that's a great call out, because, I mean, that's just smart business. I mean, if he paid $500K for that guy's mistake, then, of course he wants his money back. And that guy is also, I bet, I'd love to meet who that person is someday and get his side of the coin. But it's how many people don't make mistakes in a job? I mean, I could go on another rant. That's why I just started my newsletter called The Constructive Rant. But, I think we've buttoned up everything. So this is to me, you got to be careful with any kind of technology. It cannot take on the formality that doesn't give you room to bend. We're always bending. We're always evolving. We're always bending, and we're responding to whatever it is. I mean, this live stream wouldn't have been doing this 10 years ago. All kinds of things had to come together before we could do something that looks so normalized now, a live stream with two people in different locations talking about something they have in common. And yet there's all kinds of stuff in the background happening to make this a reality right now. Sorry, go ahead, Tommy.
I love what you're saying, because it actually, I think, challenges the thought process that contractors have, that there's no way that AI can do an estimate as good as me. There's factors that you're unaware of, and you don't have certain experiences, or there's a large variety of explanations for why AI cannot do what an individual who has a lot of this workforce experience can do instinctually. And exactly what you just said, if a human being is able to take and learn from lesson after lesson after lesson after lesson and essentially craft this skill, I hate to burst anybody's bubble. Technology is going to be able to do it. And I promise you that after that one mistake, it won't make it again. Now, with a human being, believe it or not, the likelihood of them making the same mistake again is still significant. Those of you who have children know exactly what I'm talking about. And some of us, even as adults who don't have children, we know exactly what I'm talking about here, because I'm 40 years old and I've made the same mistake multiple times, even in my older years, and hit myself and say, man, when am I going to get this right? So, but technology, it doesn't hit its head. It's purely mathematical, and it's able to analyze, identify, and do actionable items without making that same mistake a second time.
So I want to just hit on this, because another elephant in the room is that AI is going to take people's jobs. So I think it's really, really important in these conversations, in any technology conversation, to understand what the difference is. So I'm going to go back to Mark Cuban for a minute. When Open AI and Microsoft and all that drama happened around Sam, I always forget his last name. Anyway, the head of Open AI, and all the drama around that, Mark Cuban started jumping in on certain YouTube channels and talking about, the big threat of AI. And one of the things he feels is going to actually almost reverse. We've got such highly formally educated people right now. That's, again, one of the divides in construction. People that learned how to use their brain and use their hands in the same time, and they're not necessarily, I'll say, administrators. They're doers, they're implementers. But what Mark Cuban called out is that he feels that the creativity is what's going to be ratcheted up, because you used the word just now, Tommy, mathematical. And that is what AI is good at. It's good at math. It's good at science. It's good at functions. It's good at things that are static. But from the beginning of time, I mean, I don't need to call out the pyramids, but I will. I mean, buildings have changed, and that came from imagination. And the one thing that can't change for AI at the moment is a holistic imagination, meaning that you can think about something and you can also think to connect the dots around whatever it is that you're thinking. And only if and when you feed it into some sort of a LLM, chat, bot, whatever, does it start to absorb what you've told it. But there's no chat bot waking me up out of bed going, hey, I thought about, how to solve animal abuse. No, it has to come from us. And so that, again, is where we are all empowered to use these dang tools the way we want to see society and infrastructure move forward, not the other way around. And that's...
I'd like to...
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Tommy.
I'd like to piggyback off of that. And again, here I got to quote somebody else. The brain was made for creativity, not storage. And we are using a lot of our brain for a purpose that really bogs us down, trying to remember things and, use that information. Technology, we'll let that do the remembering and go ahead and pull that information out. Let's use our creativity to train it on what it is that we need to move forward. And then with regards to the job loss, let's be real. Positions change. And while we may see this as a detriment, we also need to be realistic that everything costs time and money. Everybody wants bigger paychecks. They want bonuses. They want profitability. And if we continue to do the things inefficiently, our paychecks are going to shrink in the process. We need to learn and adapt and capitalize on the tools and resources that we have available. I know a lot of people, they spend their lifetimes trying to figure out, especially believers, what is my purpose? What is my purpose in life? And there's books, one of my favorites, Purpose Driven Life. You don't have one purpose. It's going from purpose to purpose to purpose to purpose. We learn and we hit these milestones and we look back and we're like, wow, now I understand why I went through that and through that and through that and through that and through that to get to where I'm at right now. But what's interesting is it doesn't stop there. And if it does, you're now falling behind. There's an age-old saying, again, I don't remember who it was, but if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get to where you've always gotten. That's a lie. Because the truth is, if you always do what you've always done, you're now going to start falling behind because the whole world doesn't stop when you do. They keep moving forward. So if you're stagnant, if you always do what you've always done and you get to where you always are, you're in fact behind because everybody else has continued to move forward. So it's okay if things have to change and shift. Embrace it. Figure out, you have unique gifts and talents and creativity that will help us grow tremendously up this curve. And I'm looking forward to working with you and figuring that out if you want to reach out to me privately.
Absolutely. And what I want to also say on that one note is also, to me, it extends beyond construction. Part of why our society goes around and around and around from leader to leader to government, type of government to type of government, is because we are not conditioned when we are young to understand that your life is exactly what Tommy just said. You do move from purpose to purpose, but you're also gathering your experience in those purposes as you move forward, which should then strengthen your quote unquote toolkit so you're able to cope for the next situation. People that, okay, there was a time in our society, but not always, where people could do a job for a lifetime. This is an opportunity. I mean, this is where the whole idea of growth mindset came from and everything else. You can call it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, you are here to gain self-awareness and gather a life until you're at the end of it, however that comes. And we all know we have absolutely no control over that. So you're absorbing, you're changing, and that's for construction professionals too. It's not how structures and buildings are built. Let's just compare it to a chessboard. The pieces are going to change on it, but you still need the chessboard. You still need the pieces on it. Whether, it's a rook or a pawn or a king or whatever the hell it is, it just means they're going to be doing things a little differently so that, long after we're gone, people that do construction then will just think that that's a normal way of doing, of making a structure. And
well,
go ahead.
That was, how it is, or that is how it was.
Yes.
But the technology is constantly changing. But you're 100% correct that there's some things that aren't going to go away. And what we want to do is figure out how to position those pieces so that, again, you use the word cope. I want to replace it with the word thrive.
Okay.
Guys, this is an opportunity not just to survive this. This is an opportunity to enjoy this. And thrive means different things for different people. But I'll tell you what, I'm lame in the sense that when, I'm playing games with people and somebody always comes up and says, who's winning? The answer is who's having fun. And people laugh at me about that. But the reality of it is that if you're not having fun, it doesn't matter how much money you're making, you are not winning. I'm sorry to bring that to light. Life is short. It's not about money. You don't get to take it with you. But the irony is that those who are having fun, in most cases, they're actually making more money than the people who are just coping and trying to get through. This is an opportunity to thrive. Let's, and again, it's available to everybody. There's not anybody who was born and has is not included in this. You have a unique gift, a talent, an opportunity. We got to figure out how to piece those together so that you can get to where you're going. And again, for that next purpose, which is going to lead to that next purpose, which is going to lead to that next purpose. And at the core of it, success will be the more people that we can help. And the more people that we can help, and that's not just from a GMS perspective, this is in any business perspective. The more people that we can help accomplish their objective, whether it's get a coffee, build a building, have a nice dinner, there's a large variety of services out there, bring technology. The more people that you can help, that's thriving. That's where what you're going to end up truly enjoying intrinsically. And the byproduct is financially, you'll have the resources necessary to do the things that, a lot of people go to work for.
And on that note, I want to wrap up today's session by thanking Tommy for, starting to spread the word, not just about Graceful Management Systems, but who is Tommy Stanek and why would you even want to work with him? I mean, again, for me, it all starts with a conversation. So we welcome anybody who's hearing this and quite frankly, might hear the recording of it after the fact, to get in touch and, let us know if you're interested in learning more about being a beta tester and what it could mean to your business. Again, Graceful Management Systems is an enterprise software. It is a cloud-based enterprise resource planning service that leverages AI to learn from contractors' projects, operation data, their financials, their real-time feeds, etc. And it could result into reductions up to 20% in some kind of labor material cost savings. So it's a smart tool that uses all this data from your previous projects. It's going to predict the future costs, autonomously manage your scheduling, and best of all, save construction companies some money. I mean, and at the end of the day, I was going to go on a little bit of a rant. We've been quoting certain people, but I always, I'm old school enough to remember Johnny Carson. And he used to say, it doesn't matter how rich you are, you can only wear one pair of shoes at a time. And I think part of why society's gotten off kilter is we've put so much FOMO into I'm not a multimillionaire, or I'm not a billionaire, or I need to be a billionaire, or whatever it is. Even the richest, whoever becomes the next trillionaire or whatever that looks like, will still only be able to wear one pair of shoes at a time. All the rest is storage. and we are so hung up as a society on storage. We are. So anyway, there's data storage too. I won't go down that rabbit hole. Again, I want to thank Tommy. I want to thank anybody that hung in here today and participated. Maria Martin gets a special shout out. And, see you again next Tuesday for round 2 of Graceful Management Systems with Tommy Stanek.
I want to say thank you, Stephanie. Thank you to everybody. If I could wrap this up and say that we want to build a tool for the construction industry, by the construction industry. We need your help. Join our team, and we look forward to providing solutions that you've been dreaming up, not tomorrow, but immediately.
And just one last thing, if you want to show off your own construction technology out there in audience land, contact Intelligent Construction Opportunities at info@intelops.com. Again, that's info@intelops.com, or you can DM me directly on LinkedIn. We'll see you later, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye for now.
See you Tuesday. Bye-bye.